Wendy Clark? Wendy Clark?
I'm here. I was on mute.
Thank you. Heidi DeWinger?
Yes, here.
Kylie Goslin? Taylor Mascara Bruno? Lisa Tepper Bates? And Greg Ugaldi?
Here.
Okay.
3.
Okay. All right. So I guess we should get started. First up is Valencia with the amendments to the down payment assistance program. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. You have before you this morning a resolution to adopt the amendment to the single-family housing down payment assistance program. And by way of a recap, single-family is implementing programs and policy enhancements to the CHFA down payment assistance program. These changes are focused on increasing opportunities for first-time home buyers to help them achieve the dream of home ownership. On November 1st of 2020, single family implemented the first revisions to the CHFA down payment assistance program that included increasing the maximum DAP loan amount to $20,000, allowing applicants to apply for financing for both down payment and closing cost assistance, expanding our total debt to income ratio from 43% to 45%, and increasing the combined loan to value from 100% to 105%. In the first month following the implementation of those changes, single-family loan reservations increased by 16%, and the percentage of reservations that included down payment assistance increased by 29%. So it definitely had the desired impact. We also presented a resolution on November 19th to the board requesting to make a change to the down payment assistance procedures to eliminate the asset test restriction for borrowers, which would allow them to be able to retain funds after closing that would help them in times of hardship. The asset restriction was that borrowers would have to contribute any money they had over $10,000 towards the cost of acquisition of the property. We had to go out for public comment, which we did from December 15th to January 16th. No comments were received by email or by mail during the period, and so we have come back before you to request adoption of the resolution to amend the DAP procedures to eliminate the asset contribution. You have the resolution also attached for your review and the change that would be implemented in the procedures. Any questions?
No, it was very encouraging, the increases. You know, I don't know what the delta was, whether it's with a quiet month, but it's very encouraging. Anybody else with comments, questions? Okay, I guess we can vote on it. We need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Wendy, I guess. Okay, let's take a vote.
Wendy Clark?
Yes.
Heidi DeWinger?
Aye.
Kylie Goslin?
Aye.
Thank you. Lisa Tepper Bates? She hasn't joined yet. Greg Ugaldi?
Aye.
4 in favor.
Shelley,
Okay.
Lisa said she will not make it to mortgage committee, but she'll be at board today.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but approved, right? We have.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, second on the agenda, Joe with the prepayment mortgage for Summit Woods.
Good morning, everyone. The action item before you is seeking the approval of a prepayment for Summit Woods, which is a 120-unit property in Norwich, Connecticut. The payoff would be approximately $3.4 million, and upon the payoff, the property will be transferred to Q Residential LLC. Summit Woods it was one of the early tax credit properties. It was originally built in 1991, and it consists of 5 buildings. It has an applicable fraction of 40%. So 40% of the units, or 48 units, were tax credit units. The other 72 units were market. And of the units in the property, 10 of them are ADA accessible. There's a fairly broad mix of units. There are 31 bedroom units, 62 bedroom units, and 33 bedroom units, and the property is nearly fully occupied. The occupancy rate is approximately 97.5%, with 3 of the 120 units being vacant as of December 31st. This property was originally financed by CHFA, and the first mortgage debt matures in 2025. It also utilized the 9% low-income housing tax credit. The principal, Joe Mastronunzio, is the managing general partner and limited partners of the Dime Savings Bank from Norwich. They are interested in selling the property, and they have a fully executed purchase and sales agreement as of January 5th, I believe, for the acquisition and transfer in early 2021, most likely in April. Purchase price is $12.65 million, and the proposed buyer will be arranging for their own financing. So the current structure of the transaction is a first and second mortgage. As I mentioned, the first mortgage was sourced by CHFA. The second mortgage was initially a DECD loan that was subsequently acquired by CHFA in 2003. The terms of the DECD debt would provide that upon payoff, that the lender is eligible to receive 49% of the residual seller proceeds after the retirement of all debt and transaction costs. For this particular project, the residual amount is anticipated to be around $6.3 million, and 49% of that would be $3.1 million. CHFA also provided a note modification previously, and under the terms of that, CHFA would be entitled to an additional 25% of the remaining residual proceeds. So this would be about $814,000, and the total residual amount coming back to the lender would be approximately $3.9 million. So the seller is not getting 100% of the sales proceeds after the retirement of debt. That's going to be shared. Also, as part of the payoff, CHFA will include a 1% fee to accommodate the payoff, approximately $15,000. The proposed purchaser is Q Residential of Lakewood, New Jersey. They're an affiliate of Reichman International of Toronto. Reichman is a considerable real estate development and investment firm out of Canada, and they specialize in institutional housing such as assisted living and multifamily, as well as student housing. They've been operating under the Q Residential banner for about 10 years here in the United States. David Klein is the managing partner of Q Residential. and he'll serve as the owner and management agent of the Summit Woods property upon transfer. In speaking with the proposed buyer, he's indicated that Hugh has also acquired a couple of other properties here in Connecticut, including Merritt Station and Meriden, and they just recently closed on a property in Stamford that was renamed to Park at Glenbrook. Both are market rate properties. And the acquisition of Summit Woods here in Norwich is attractive to them because they'd like to develop and build up their operating workforce housing portfolio. We've received copies of letters of interest from different lenders for Q Residential. So upon transfer, we would simply need to provide our formal approval of them as the buyer and both the management agent for the proposed transfer. The scope of repairs at this point seems to be more cosmetic than you would anticipate in a property of this age. We've reviewed the property. The property is very well maintained. The finishes that are used were very good at the time. The original owner was or still is a contractor and both owner and management agent. So they used very good materials at the beginning. They've maintained the property quite well, and the current condition is very good. Mr. Klein has indicated that he anticipates that the repairs are going to be more cosmetic in nature upon turnover, such as updating appliances, using vinyl plank flooring, updating kitchens and baths. So they're not planning any major capital improvements. The roofs were recently done in 2009, as were mechanical systems over time. So they're holding back some money in reserves for that purpose, but they don't anticipate any major capital improvements that would be immediately necessary. In addition to the good condition, the property also has affordability restrictions that were very favorable at the time. As part of the initial financing, the residential restrictions needed to be in place for 99 years after the conclusion of the initial compliance period. So the restriction covenants that exist will be in effect for an additional 85 years, and those provide for 40% of the units to remain affordable at 60% of area median income. So based on these restrictive covenants, the property will remain affordable for a considerable period of time. In terms of operating history, Summit Woods recently appeared on our sustainability list as far back as 2018, and the property has rebounded in terms of operations up to a 1.10 debt service coverage as of 2019. We've reviewed the current unaudited financials, and they have an approximate debt service coverage of 1.30 as of December 31. So any concern that folks may have had about the operational health of the property it was just very temporary. So staff is recommending the approval of this prepayment subject to the following conditions: that CHFA approve the buyer and management agent for the property, and the existing restrictive covenant agreement remains in effect, and as such, CHFA or its agent will complete compliance monitoring going forward. And lastly, CHFA will approve the transfer upon acceptance of the final residual analysis prior to closing. Are there any questions?
Joe, why wouldn't we approve the buyer and or the management company now? Why do it twice?
Well, the approval is more of an asset management function, and we're asking that Nandini, as the chief executive, have the latitude to approve that upon staff recommendation, post board action.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we have a purchase and sales agreement, and it's only been recent. Until we have the approval of a prepayment, both the buyer and the seller did not want to go through the exercise of submitting all the materials needed to become approved if CHFA were not going to approve the prepayment. So we agreed to make this a post-approval item.
Okay, I guess I understand. I mean, this thing seems to me to be a win-win. I mean, it seems like a project that A, was well built, B, maintained, it still has a huge amount of equity, C, we get a nice sharing residual payment. I mean, it seems like a sort of a project that worked on all different levels. It's full, its debt coverage ratio is good. So this seems like a good sort of template, I guess, for projects that are working.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
That's fair to say. I think we wish we had more like this.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we can learn something from this project that, it's done exactly what we had hoped, and it's being sold to a, Reichland's a very reputable, for a good amount. Anyway, that was my assessment.
I agree. I thought the presentation, another good one too, answered my questions as you went. I will make a motion with the conditions that you suggested. I thought they were well stated as well. But for discussion purposes, I'll throw the motion out there looking for the second.
I have a question before we move on to the motion.
Sure.
Where will the covenants be recorded, and how is it transferred to the new owner?
The restrictive covenants are already on the land use records in favor of both the state of Connecticut and CHFA. We will either recast those to the new owner or simply allow them to be assigned, but we haven't discussed that, formally with our legal team.
Okay, and then my second question is, in the resolution, section 1B, there's a reference to compliance with laws and procedures and the provisions of the memorandum. Could you just clarify what that memorandum refers to?
I think that's the memorandum of agreement between DECD and CHFA when we acquired the debt in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So as a condition of the approval, our legal team will be ensuring that any provisions or requirements of that agreement, along with CHFA's operating procedures, would be met and adhered to.
Thank you.
Joe, do you see any downside to this transaction?
No, I think it's encouraging. One of the pluses here is that it is mixed income, so there is some incentive for the owner to continue to keep the property well maintained and modern, and that would I'd have more of a concern if it were 100% affordable. I think this is a very attractive property. From the surrounding developments that you pass on your way to this property, it's clear that Summitwood stands out in the community. So I think this is a very good transaction for all parties.
Okay, not a problem. Is there anyone else who has questions or comments? Okay, Greg moves the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, Shelley?
Wendy Clark,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinkert,
Aye.
Kylie Goslin,
Aye.
Mike Uzaldi,
Aye.
unanimous.
Okay. And last, the only thing I have on the agenda, action items, is the minutes from the mortgage committee. I reviewed them. They look fine to me. Anybody else have any comments or questions, changes? Okay, I'll move them. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. That's all I have. Nandini, do you have anything else?
I do not.
Okay. Wow. So
We're taking it easy on you this month.
Yes. Thank you.
Easing you in back into
Gonna
21.
Get back into
Right, exactly.
practice. All right. So we're back 10, I guess, for the
Good.
right.
Right. Well, we have the activities report. Did you want us to
Oh,
walk
I'm
through?
sorry. Yes,
No worries.
I do. Sure. Let's do the activities.
Great.
Take as long as you want, Wendy. Or is Wendy on?
Wendy, you're muted. I'm sorry, my screen went black right when I was about to start, so I was trying to, but I can see it now. So as far as the multifamily activities, to give you a little update of what's been going on in multifamily, completed the initial reviews on the 15.9% tax credit applications. Clarification calls took place and with responses received as well. And the reviewers are now working on final underwriting reviews and scoring. Those reviews continue. In November and December, we had 2 initial closings, Farnham Courts 2 in New Haven and Westbrook Village 3 in Hartford. And also we had 6 projects that had a final closing. As far as overview sessions and workshops, there was one NCFHA event this month that staff attended. It was a discussion with other state housing finance agencies related to the new 4% LIHTC minimum rate that became effective for acquisition credits and bond finance properties that placed in service after December 31st, 2020. So that was good news, and we listened in on that discussion. There's still some questions that agencies have, but they're working through those. In addition, I didn't put this in the report, but the Partnership for Strong Communities hosted a listening session for property managers this week. Both Nandini and the commissioner were speaking on that, and we had some good discussion with some property managers. And we also got some positive feedback about how some of the relief CHFA has provided, such as temporarily suspending replacement reserve billing and offering forbearance has been helpful. As far as other items, the CHFA extended the basic needs program that we had started offering in 2020. That's for housing authorities. They're able to get some grant funds to help with COVID-related expenses to help their residents. We reopened the program and received over 25 applications, and that money is almost depleted now. A report on the forbearance program will be given at board, so I wasn't going to talk about that. We did have a public input period that ended on December 23rd to receive comments about the LIHTC program and the QAP. Approximately 40 responses were received, and those will be discussed with the QAP board task force later today. Back on the development engagement process that we've mentioned in prior months, CHFA staff continues to work closely with DOH staff on discussing those recommendations and which ones may move forward. There are a few developers that will be asked to come in and present some more information on their potential 4% applications. So that should be happening in the near future. And then as far as our upcoming pipeline, we provided a chart this month that lists a bunch of properties that are currently under review by staff, and we expect to bring those to the board either next month or the following months after that, as soon as they're ready. Some of those we've had in the report in the past, so you might be seeing them again, but those are currently being worked on. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Is there any other questions? Are there? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks. Thank you, Greg. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll
see everybody at 10.
10.
Sounds
Great.
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.